and welcome back to another episode of the Alizee Show. I'm your host, Alizee, and today I'm joined by VangelinaSkov.
Hello.
This is episode 2 of I can't find any of my normal clothes because I'm wearing, this is not mine, it's my boyfriend's. I'm wearing this, it says Huel on it. This is free advertisement. I should be charging, like, I don't know, 100 quid for this right now. This whole video is free advertisement. And I have, again, this is not mine. I have this like water bottle that says bulk. So between Huel and bulk, I'm like one step away from a Gymshark sponsorship. Do you know what I mean? I look like I'm doing more exercise than I actually do.
I don't know what Huel is, but I can gather what bulk is from the fact that you're holding one of their products. So.
Do you not know what Huel is?
Do I look like I go to the gym?
Huel is it's depressing is what it is. It's kind of like, you know when like conservatives get all, if Jeremy Corbyn won, the future would, I literally saw Jeremy Clarkson say this on an episode of the Grand Tour, which, do you know what that is?
The cycling?
No. No. Right, Jeremy Clarkson and his mates, those other blokes, James May and Richard Hammond, they had a show called Top Gear. You must be aware.
I know what that is.
Yeah. But then Jeremy Clarkson got fired from Top Gear because he punched a producer in the face whilst drunk because he was angry about his steaks not getting there or his wine or something not arriving on time. And I'm, do you know, like, this is so funny. Okay, I need to rephrase that a little bit. I'm not laughing that someone actually got punched. I'm laughing that the UK, the Great British Public, decided to make a petition because he got fired. Someone made a petition. It got over 1 million signatures of people asking for him to be reinstated because it's totally fine to just punch someone in a work environment if your steaks aren't warm enough or whatever that is. So he got fired and Amazon made a new show, and I think it's called The Grand Tour. And it was on TV, and it wasn't, I was going to lie then. Like, I was going to subconsciously lie and just say it was on TV. I just caught it on TV, but it's an Amazon show, so I didn't catch it on TV. My boyfriend was watching a few episodes of it. I didn't want people to get the wrong impression of my boyfriend. Because in my head, when I think of Jeremy Clarkson, I think of like, oh God, he's a Sun columnist and he's always just like crying about, I don't know, the woke. Do you know what I mean? So I'm not saying we endorse Jeremy Clarkson, but it was on, and he was in Vietnam, and they were trying just some insects that had like some, I don't know, some seasonings on them. And he was being like, if Jeremy Corbyn wins, that is Britain's future. We're going to have to be eating these crickets, even though like I think they were enjoying the crickets. So anyway.
What was the point of that statement from him? Like, what? Where was he going with that?
I don't know where I was going with that. What has that got to do with it? That's it, Huel. Fuck me. Fuck me. This is bleak already.
We're off to a wonderful start. This is really good.
Huel, it's like this, I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know what I'm referencing. It's like is it a powder? It's this multi-nutritional vitamin-enriched slop that's kind of like gruel, but people say, oh, it tastes nice, but let's be real, these people are just kidding themselves. It's cheap, and it has like a bunch of, well, I don't know, is it cheap? It's probably like £1 per portion. I don't know. My mates have tried it before. My boyfriend has like tried it a few times and insists that it's nice. Mm-hmm. I don't think it is. It kind of looks like gruel. It's the type of thing that, and I've seen people say this on the adverts on Facebook for Huel, when people comment and stuff. I've seen people comment like, this is the future that they all want. They want us to be eating this gruel and insects. It's just like, whose agenda is that? What are you talking about? I don't understand. That's what Huel is.
It's not just like Herbalife then.
What's that?
It's like the same thing, I guess. So some herbally vitamin, good for you, comes in a shaker. It's like a cult. I think it's a cult. Not really, don't sue me.
Is it an MLM?
I think so. I'm not sure. I didn't know somebody, but I knew somebody that knew somebody that was like selling it and stuff.
Sure.
So potentially, but allegedly, in my own opinion, they're a cult.
Yeah, sure, standard. I don't think Huel's a cult. Like, they don't seem to have. They sponsor the Diary of a CEO podcast, so I don't think they are an MLM, because I don't think Stephen Bartlett would align himself with. I don't know him actually. He might. Maybe Stephen Bartlett is in Herbalife. I don't know. Maybe he's in the sales cult I was in, and that's how he's a millionaire, because he's actually the one that's at the top of the pyramid scheme. Who knows?
And I don't even know who he is, so good for him. Do I just not, like, anytime you mention anybody, I'm like, I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
How do you not know what Diary of a CEO is? It's a podcast. Have I not complained about it to you? Oh, gosh, I shouldn't say that publicly. Yes, I bitch about literally everything. Diary of a CEO has recently come under fire in my personal life from me. Because, this is going to sound so callous. Well, it's a podcast, right? He interviews celebrities, I guess CEOs. Jordan Peterson's been on it. Like, it's that type of thing, right? But I've just noticed recently that everyone goes on it and then, like, 9 times out of 10, they just cry. And it's like, what are you all crying about? You're all rich. Boo.
Well, now I'm curious why they are crying. What are they crying about?
Because he'll be like, what's your childhood like? And they'll be like, oh, like some Victorian novel. Do you know what I mean? They'll be like, I know, Wuthering Heights. I've never read Wuthering Heights. I got bored after 10 pages. Yeah, that's... I don't know.
Have you seen that clip of Bella Hadid where she was like, I don't know what it was for. It might have been Vogue or something. And she was like, I wasn't allowed designer until I was 18. My parents did. It's like, oh my god, this is really sad.
Yeah.
Is that the vibe?
I'd be doing a disservice if I lied and agreed with you. No, like, I've listened to some of it and some of it's all right, but just, I don't know. Certain people have, I'm being such a bitch right now. Certain people have gone on there and cried about certain things, but then they themselves aren't, I'm being so vague because I don't want, like, beef with, like, these people I'm alluding to. But it, like, you can't cry about being bullied and then be a bully in your adult life. Do you know what I mean? Am I insane for saying that? Am I insane?
No, that is so true. Yeah.
And if I can get, I'm going to be so vague, right? But if I can get a certain interview about what I'm talking about right now, then what I've said will make sense to so many people. If I can get an interview on this podcast with a certain... No, because I'm not here. I'm not out. Look, it's not 2020. I'm not here trying to start beef with people for views anymore.
Do it. Just do it for my entertainment. I'm like, my life feels a bit boring at the moment. I need something to get that dopamine going. Start drama.
Oh, I need to say this because I said this in the episode that we never released. I feel like I need to explain myself with this podcast because people, you know, when I first got the podcast, I was in a studio in East London, and I've gone through like a bunch of people and now I'm doing it this way. And I feel like, well, it's a very normal thing to try things out, see what works, what doesn't. But I've never just like even acknowledged. So I think like sometimes people, they'll like see I've got a new episode up and they have no idea what to expect, you know? Because I've tried out various things. Firstly, the studio, whilst it looked good financially, don't know what I was thinking. Must have been like, you know, that drama YouTuber era coin I was spending. Because it makes no sense to like waste money on a studio if you're not... It makes no sense to waste money on a studio if you're not a millionaire. To me, anyway. Financially, just don't make that much sense, you know. It also can be a bit constricting having a studio because if, you know, doing things over Zoom, I can talk to people in other countries, like Nick Pope. He's out in America. Can't do that if everyone has to come to a studio. But financially, it just didn't make that much sense. I stopped living in that area of East London. So what was a 10-minute walk becomes like a 1.5 hour journey, which I'm not doing that. for other people? Are you joking? That means I have to wake up extra early. I have to put on like loads of makeup. I have to like travel for ages. And then by the end of the day, my makeup looks like a joke because I look like a clown right now. And I tried out like a few different things. Me and my mate, KD, as they want to be known as, we never aired that. We were going to do like this conspiracy, sort of like true conspiracy type thing. And then I don't know, I think I deleted the footage. I think I needed to wipe my hard drive. So I was like, right, let's go in the bin.
That was just your process. You didn't think move it somewhere.
It's actually, it's very challenging to try to do a consistent podcast and involve other people because you've got different schedules. If you're using a studio, you have to book, and if you're using a studio, you have to have a videographer. So then there's all these extra costs. So like one podcast episode is probably costing like a couple £100 or whatever, and I don't make like that much money from this podcast. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and I find that like doing these Zoom ones, it's not as if the quality of the content itself, of like the conversation, air marks, quality of this conversation, it's not like that's diminished. Not you're fine. Me crying about like Jeremy Clarkson or whatever.
I mean, fair enough. You're valid. That feels valid.
Thank you.
Yeah, I forgot you explained this in the episode we didn't post. And I think that's when you announced that I was like now co-host, but you didn't tell me. And I was like, what?
Well, I would like to do these ones with you and then have like interviews with people and stuff. And I don't know. I just want to see where it goes. Because before, I think I used to think a bit too strictly about it. Like, oh no, it's a podcast, so it has to be, done in a certain binary way. But when I think in terms like that, maybe it's because I'm neurodivergent, I don't know. When I think in terms like that, I tend to like not do, like I got really like stressed out for a while about doing a podcast about, a conversation has to be, my favorite podcast to listen to is Jack Mate's Happy Hour, and they literally just like piss about and talk about absolute nonsense for an hour, and I think it's so funny, and that's what I really like. So I've gotten more into a better headspace of doing a podcast now because it doesn't need to. I'm never going to be Diary of a CEO, like professional. But then the biggest podcast in the world is Joe Rogan, and he's not professional in the slightest. He gets stoned.
Maybe that's what you're missing.
It's like eating an edible and doing that. Could you imagine? I've not been stoned in I don't know how many years. Imagine like I just got stoned for a YouTube video and I threw it all down the drain for what?
For a YouTube video.
Don't get me wrong, I've considered it a few times. The only reason I don't smoke weed has nothing to do with my sobriety at all, actually. The only reason I don't smoke it is because of my disassociation issues and tendencies. Like, because if I smoke weed, I will get like derealized and it will freak me out and I'll have panic attacks and stuff, which didn't used to be the case when I was younger. But if they invented a weed where they could 100% guarantee you're just going to giggle, have silly conversations, have a laugh, eat lots of food, you're going to have no anxiety, I think I'll start smoking weed again, at least like once in a while, to take the edge off of this never-ending fucking existence.
Have you, like, out of curiosity, gotten that with every strain that you've tried, or is it just sometimes? Well, in the UK, cannabis isn't legal, so it's unregulated, it's unpredictable. And you hear people say well, maybe not all the time, I've heard older people say that weed back in like the 70s is very different to how it is now, because nowadays we have skunk and it's much more potent, like the THC levels are a lot higher or whatever, which can lead to like mental health issues because it's not entirely harmless, right? So I don't know if like, say it was legalized here and then it's regulated properly and you have like what California has, where you can go to dispensaries and you can pick out certain strains, and there'll be ones that are really strong, but then there'll be ones that just take the edge off things a little bit. I don't know, maybe ask me then in 5 years time, we'll see. Would there be a point for you though? Like if you don't get anything out of it, it just like, wouldn't then the anxiety about whether you're going to get anxious give you anxiety?
And it just defeat the purpose.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, actually. I don't know. They would have to engineer something that 100% guarantees no anxiety. But even then, a part of my brain would be like, I don't really trust this. And then I'd spoon myself out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so...
Have you tried a lobotomy?
I've considered it. You know, like... I know you're not going to know what I'm on about. You ever seen the film One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
I do know what that's about, actually. I just haven't seen it. And I only know because I watched the series Ratched, whatever her name was.
What's that?
It's like about one of the nurses from the... My cats are fighting right behind my computer. I'm so sorry. Stop it, please. It's about one of the nurses from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but it's like her own standalone thing about like how she became horrible or something. Oh. I might be completely wrong, by the way.
Oh.
I could be remembering this wrong. They might not even be connected, but I do know what it is, yes.
Well, lobotomies happen, and could do me a world of good, actually. Yeah.
Lobotomies happen. Do you know that, like, I tried to do a series on... Sorry, they're gone. They've left. The cats have left the room. Back when people actually started watching my channel, I started to do a series on history of medicine or whatever, and I did a whole video on lobotomies, and like I put so much research into it and all this stuff, and obviously like nobody fucking watched it because it wasn't drama, so I just gave up. I was so sad. Like I had all these ideas I was going to talk about, like bloodletting. I was going to go like into different hospitals and stuff, particularly during the Victorian era in England, and no, nobody cared. So
have you considered if you did that series, put it on TikTok? Because at least on TikTok, it's not like YouTube. You'll have, if you just utilize the hashtags, your content will end up in those communities that you're trying to reach. It's not like fucking YouTube in the slightest.
I always forget about TikTok. I really do. I should just start using it for all the shit.
It's so good because every single like I'm always arguing against people because people are always like, oh, TikTok. Like some of my mates will be like, you're on TikTok. Why are you on TikTok? We're adults. It's like, no, you don't understand. There's a niche for everyone. You actually can go viral the easiest way to go viral on TikTok is just do something really cringy, to be honest. You do something cringy, everyone's gonna stitch you or whatever. But TikTok is a great like platform for if you want to be seen.
I can attest to this. I did a little experiment a while ago. I think it was like the year before last in the summer. I just started going on TikTok and acting like I was stupid. Like genuinely stupid, but like, so it was obviously joking, but there'd be certain people who just wouldn't get that I was joking, like being like, oh, for fuck's sake, like when are they gonna put another prize in the avocado? Why is it always the stupid wooden ball? Like stuff like that. Or like, What was it? How did he put the lightning in the light bulb to make electricity? Like how did he get it in there? Stuff like that. And some people would be like, oh my god. Trying to explain it to me. It was great. I was having a great time. Don't know why I stopped doing that.
That's really very Trisha Paytas of you.
I do like Trisha Paytas.
I know.
Really
and that's
controversial opinion.
Which is wild. That's something that Trisha Paytas would do.
And it works. It fucking works. She wrote the book. She literally wrote the book. She has a book on this. How to get internet famous.
You have to, you don't have to, but I do respect the grind of Trisha Paytas' life because Trisha has been going on like reality TV shows since, I don't know, since she was like a teenager. Like she's been there. She was on Big Brother UK. For fuck's sake, Big Brother, Celebrity Big Brother UK with Sam Thompson from Made in Chelsea. And I think like she hated him, which good for her because he was annoying. Yeah, people need to like respect the absolute grind that Trisha was like, because she and Tana Mojo are very similar for me. Like they're always going to be around. I'm going to be 50 and still like, you know, checking Tanya Mojo's socials to see what Tanya's been up to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I truly forget about her existence, Tana Mojo. It's like it's gone out of my brain unless something big happens. Trisha, I think I'm more involved with her stuff. But like, she's done so much shit. Like, she's been in an Eminem music video. She's been on Modern Family. She's been on all these fucking shows. She's been on, what was it called? like my strange addiction, like everything. And she would just make shit up. And I love the clips that are just like her just blatantly lying, but then contradicting herself, but then going back to the original lie. Like she was on, I don't know, something like American Idol, I'm not sure, where she said, I'm a computer programmer. And then later on was like, no, I'm not. And then later on again, went, no, I am a computer programmer. It's just like dumb shit. I love doing that. I used to make shit up all the time like that. I would tell people I was a natural blonde and people would believe me, which is like, no. I don't know. She's my idol. I'm going to turn into Trisha Paytas one day. I think it would be really good for me mentally.
I agree. I am so for you doing that. You should go on to like, I don't know, Ireland's Got Talent or whatever. Just make up a bunch of shit, you know?
That would be really fun. That would actually be great. I should just do it. I have the potential because like I'm not actually particularly smart or anything, so it's pretty easy for me to pretend to be an idiot, you know? Just do it. And the greatest part of it is, the most wonderful part of Trisha Paytas' whole thing is she's told people what she's doing, but people still fall for it. So even though I'm saying this here right now, if tomorrow I started acting like Trisha Paytas, nobody would put it together. Like some people would, but the general consensus would be, Jesus fucking Christ, what is wrong with this person?
Yeah. Do you know, I watched, I found this TikTok account of this person that explains their X Factor experience back, like, I think at least a decade ago, right? And how they were set up as set up by the producers to look like an idiot on TV, and it was really callous. I think her name's, the name Zoe Alexander is springing to mind, but that can't be right. Hold on, let me just check, because I don't. Zoe Alexander, X Factor. Yeah. Pink impersonator, Zoe Alexander. She's done a bunch of like, TikToks about her experience and how the producers told her to do a Pink song. They wouldn't accept anything else because I think she just had short blonde hair. So they were like, okay, so you're kind of similar to Pink. And she was like, not really. And they were like, oh no, you have to sing a Pink song. So she goes on the show in front of the judges because you have to like go sing in front of the producers first to be let on the show, which that's huge information for people that watch these shows, because the way they're set up, it looks like these people just walk in and there they are singing to Simon Cowell. No, they have to go through producers first, which means when you get the people that are being crazy and cringe, the producers have seen them and gone, yeah, you're amazing. The judges are going to love this. Like, you're on through. Yeah. Like, that is so fucked up. So, like, and then these people subsequently like have mental breakdowns on camera when they're told by like when Simon Cowell turns around and goes, you're rubbish and you're fat. Like, because like he would do that. He would just like they would call people fat. And it's like, Simon Cowell, right? This is my conspiracy theory. No. Okay. If you look at pictures of him recently, he looks so different. And yes, he's had a lot of plastic surgery, but he looks so different to how he used to. I'm not convinced that Simon Cowell is the real Simon Cowell anymore. I think he's been replaced by like a shit lookalike, because he just he looks nothing. Even if you add in, the plastic surgery, whatever, he looks nothing like how it's so weird.
Can I look up a picture for reference so I actually know what you're talking about? Hold on.
It's like I get uncanny valley when I look at him and his big fake teeth.
But like, you think it's just a lookalike, not like a clone?
I don't know at this point. I don't know, because if they're out there cloning Joe Biden, maybe, and Paul McCartney and Avril Lavigne, maybe they cloned Simon Cowell.
How do we end up talking about this every episode?
What, clones?
Yeah. I see him now. Does he look that different? I need to reference now an old picture.
Look at like a really a much older picture.
Oh.
Do you see what I mean? It's just like there's something when I look at him that's not computing in my brain and I get uncanny valley.
Is
like
what?
When I
I don't like it.
Right? There's like a internal recoiling. There's a reaction. And that's not me just dogging on like his botched surgeries, though I'm allowed to dog on his botched surgeries because he, made this career off of exploiting vulnerable, mentally ill people and calling people fat. Like, what? Like, you're a singing judge? Why are you calling these
Yeah, it's
people?
really not relevant. It's his eyes. Like, they're freaking me out.
They're different. There's something that's happened. Is it like, I don't know. Did he strike some sort of deal
Lobotomy.
with the devil? Is it a lobotomy?
It could be. It feels like there's nothing going on there. That's why I'm like,
Oh yeah, so anyway, the Zoe Alexander person, kind of like unveiled all about how she was set up, so the judges could turn around to be like, why are you copying Pink? And then she responds being like, you told me to sing a Pink song. And the judges were like, who's that? Talisa, that nasty woman. Like, she's actually nasty, I think. Like, I shouldn't say that. Like, I think she beat someone up. I'm not sure. Cheryl Cole beat someone up though.
what?
Yeah, people just don't like. Why do I know this stuff and I don't know, like, I don't know, quantum physics? Why do I know that Cheryl Cole randomly beat someone up in a nightclub once?
Because you spend your time investigating who
I
beat who
don't.
up.
I really don't do this. Like, I sit here and watch Gilmore Girls on repeat. I don't look at this stuff. Yeah. So anyway, X Factor's Big Bad, and what I want to talk about is completely unrelated, off on a tangent. I've had a real moment of growth over these past 2 weeks. I've matured. I've changed.
Oh, okay. Right.
I have finally, it's a big moment for me, I finally stopped watching Made in Chelsea. Because they've gone too fucking far. And I always felt just compelled to watch it. And if I missed it on Monday night, I'd watch it on 4OD the next day, Tuesday morning. And it's been my routine for a long, like, years of my life. This show has been around, like, for at least a decade. And I missed a few seasons.
For a decade?
I missed a few seasons in the middle because I think, like, they kept going to France or something. I don't know, there were some annoying people in it, whatever. But for the past few years, it's, it's been a part of my life. I'd look up on Twitter to see people roasting the show and the cast members. That was, like, a part of my routine as well. After every episode, quickly look on Twitter, see what people were saying, laugh at all the roasting going on and stuff. But this season, it's gotten so unbearably shit that I just can't bear it anymore. And I'm going to have to, like, put this into words the way I feel, because it's difficult. So when the show started, none of them were members of aristocracy, but it was meant to be about, the most privileged elite people in this country, shagging each other and whatnot, and like the upper classes just being stupid, right? Which it was for a good few years. Now it's like anyone with, I think one of the girls, she just has like a bunch of TikTok followers. Like, that's the level it's kind of gotten to. And because, like, they're just getting these random people who want to be famous so then they can get the brand deals on Instagram and stuff, the delivery of drama isn't there. Like, this season, I watched about 2 episodes of it and I was like, I'm fucking done. Because these girls are really crying that one girl didn't tell another girl that she was secretly dating. So, like, that was it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was like, wait, this is it. This is the level of drama. We've gone from Spencer Matthews years ago on this bridge saying to Louise Thompson, you allowed me to cheat on you. That's why I shagged another woman in your bed. We've gone from that to, but I'm a victim because she said one thing and it wasn't really that true, but she also just wanted to keep her, like, burgeoning's that the word? I don't know, like, new potential relationship under wraps, potentially. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what we've sunk to. We've sunk to who are these people? Who are any of them? I don't know them.
So this is where you draw the line. This is where it gets too far. Never mind the fact that it was always shit. It
was always shit, but it was just like juicy shit. That's a horrible thing to say. It was just like I mean, looking back ethically, Spencer Matthews was like emotionally abusing Louise Thompson. If you look back from a modern day lens, it's like, yeah, how did this stuff? But TV 10 years ago was just wilder than it is now. Now it's just a bit more sanitized and stuff, whatever. And well, supposedly. But yeah, no, I've just had enough of it. I had no inclination to watch. And do you know what the show keeps doing as well? They introduced this a few seasons ago. They always do a, last week sort of short minute recap at the beginning of the show. But then a few seasons ago, they introduced this coming up, showing clips of the show that I'm about to sit and watch. Why are you doing that? I'm already here. My butt is in the seat. I'm here. I'm engaged. Why are you fucking showing me a preview? Why are you showing me a trailer to a show that I'm sitting and watching? And you know what? As much as I love them, Jack Mate's Happy Hour, they do it on Spotify, so I skip ahead 2 minutes so I don't have to listen to that. Diary of a CEO, that he also does. Why am I listening to previews of stuff that I'm committed to listening/watching? Do you not trust me enough, people? You have to lure me in. What is this?
I don't think it's for you specifically.
Everything is for me specifically.
I mean, the best show, actually, is Written in the Stars. And they were doing the same thing, so I had to keep skipping like a minute and a half ahead, so I wouldn't... Because then it's like, well, then I know everything that's going to happen, and it's not going to be fun anymore. But that is actually a much greater show than Made in Chelsea, by the way. So...
Well, it's also like... There's only a certain amount of time, the runtime of this show, it's like 45 minutes or whatever. So I had to sit through a minute of last week recap and then another minute and a bit of this. So now the runtime of the actual show, well, and then there's always a next time on Main Chelsea at the end of it as well. So really the runtime of the show has gone from 45 minutes to like about 40 minutes, really, when you think about it. And I'm just not impressed with that. You're wasting my fucking time. Give me 5 more minutes of rich, stupid people shouting at each other for shagging each other's boyfriends.
The greatest part of you...
We don't even get that. We don't even get that with the recent series. It's like no one's secretly shagging someone else's. It's just, oh, this girl said this one thing. Fucking grow up, all of you. Like, just grow up. Sort it out.
The greatest part of when you explain this stuff to me is that I don't know Made in Chelsea, so it's just like, you're saying these things and these people, and I'm like, okay. Like I told you before, when I was flicking through the channels years ago, it was on. I watched it for about 20 seconds. I couldn't figure out if it was a scripted show or a reality show, like a proper show. Obviously it's scripted, but like a proper show or a reality show. And it hurt my brain, and they were all really annoying. So I just stopped watching after about 20 seconds.
I know. I should have done that too.
It's okay. You had fun. You made memories. Parasocial enemies. It's all good.
So, my next topic that I want to rant about.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if anyone's going to find this interesting, me turning my podcast into... Sometimes there'll be interviews with people like Nick Pope, but for the rest of the time, it's just me bitching about stuff. But that's what podcasts are, though, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's either like you interview someone about like something, or you're just bitching. I saw something today, actually. Some Australian influencer who had a podcast. She's been dropped by something because on her podcast, she admitted that when she was younger, she killed 2 of her cats.
What the fuck?
By younger, I mean 9. She said that she was swinging her cat around like a stuffed toy and like mistakes happen, that kind of thing. And it's like, bitch, I had a cat when I was 9 and I knew not to swing it around. Like, come on. But
that's like serial killer behavior.
Well, yeah. But what struck me the most about that is some of you people with podcasts are really too comfortable with saying fucking anything. Because there are things that have happened in my life that I'm taking to the grave. Granted, I'm not a cat killer. It's nothing that serious. But, you know, there are like embarrassing moments or like stupid like things that I've done that I'm not going to... I think that was a ghost. Be right back. Mid-run.
Okay. This is my podcast now. I'm gonna share the embarrassing stories, except this section is getting cut out. So it's okay. Also, I'm pretty sure she can still hear me with her headphones.
I can hear you. I'm back. It wasn't a ghost. It was my imagination, or maybe it was that, I don't know, podcaster. Yeah, people are just like way too comfortable fucking saying any old shit. And I just like sometimes, you know, because like there's loads of my private life that I keep private. There's loads of things that I like to keep private because I feel that I personally just feel it's important to have distinctions between, online stuff, work, real life. Like, I wouldn't try to exploit my relationship for clicks, because I don't believe that that's healthy or conducive to good relationships. I try not to exploit parts of my life, like hobbies, like I like to game, and people say to me, why don't you do Twitch or something? And it's like, because I don't want to monetize what's just a hobby for me. Why are you laughing? Have I offended you?
No, I think it's fun. I'm not offended. I just do truly try to like make content out of everything in my life. Everything.
Which, do you know what? Like, and that is fine. That's fine, because some people can do that, and that's totally fine. But I know for me, I need a lot of just my me time. That's me and no one else. I've got no other eyes involved or whatever, right? But so, like these people who just go on these podcasts and then they end up just saying any old fucking shit, right? Mm-hmm. About the time, I don't know, they were 5 years old and had diarrhea. Am I meant to find that no one's done that. I've come up with that. But am I meant to find that interesting? Because I don't. So I think these people, a lot of them are narcissists, and maybe that's ironic coming from a YouTuber to say that. But I just think there's a certain level of narcissism in thinking that you can say a story like, oh, I killed my cats once, and you think you're going to get the reaction that you wanted from your audience. Like, why do you need people to know so much about you? You're probably not even, I don't know this person. She might be like really funny. I don't know. But she's probably not even that interesting anyway, because most of these people aren't. Oh my God, I'm being such a cunt today.
But and also she killed her cat, so you can say whatever you want about her. Like, it's fine, it's fair game.
What was the purpose of telling that story? How did you think that was going to go down? Keep it to yourself.
She fully thought about the little clips she could make out of it, or the extra views that she would get. Like, that's all it is. These people are insane. Like, I think we should ban them all.
That's what I mean. And it's just this level of narcissism. And it's weird, though, because I've realised I've definitely gotten way more private in my recent years than I was when maybe I was like 22, 23, right? And I used to think that I was a narcissist, because I am a bit like self-obsessed and self-involved and stuff, and I'm always thinking about myself and getting grumpy about things that I've done or whatever. But when I look at some of these people, I don't know, maybe I'm really not halfway as bad as I think that I am. Because people will really be on podcasts talking about what they had for breakfast. Do you know what I mean?
What did you have for breakfast?
I had loads of coffee with like a bunch of sugar, no milk. I like my coffee black, but really, really sugary. Oh, and then I had this vegan chocolate hazelnut spread from M&S. It's it's vegan. So it's a vegan Nutella basically, and it's really, really nice.
On its own? Or like on something?
Just with a spoon. No, on a slice of bread. I didn't even toast it because I couldn't be bothered. And then I cooked some baked potatoes, right? Mm-hmm. But all the forks were in the dishwasher, so I had to eat my baked potato with chopsticks. And I did it. I managed it. Because I'm just that fucking talented and good at everything.
Like a whole baked potato?
Yeah. I
thought you meant pieces of potato, and then when you said the chopsticks, I was thinking in my head, like, that's not really much of a feat to pick up pieces of potato.
No, I was like using the chopsticks to mash up the mash and scoop it up, and I'm blown away by how incredible I am. I should be the president of the UK, to be honest.
Well, now I'm going to have my chopstick brag, because I couldn't use my right arm at all for a while. And I found out I can just use them with my left hand. And I'm very right-handed. So I was like, I'm amazing. I'm great. Because I also never had to learn how to use chopsticks. Like, I could just use them. It made sense to my brain.
Yeah,
so
same.
I'm fantastic. So we're great. Essentially. Better than everybody else.
Yeah, I think I got shown once at a restaurant when I was very young. This is how you use chopsticks. And I've always been very adept at it. Always. It's never really been an issue. I commend you for being able to do that left-handed, though, because I don't think I could.
You probably could, because as we established, you're better than everybody else.
We are so much better than everyone. Like,
never mind those other narcissistic podcasts.
No. People
We're the real deal.
That we are gracing their ear holes with our brilliance on a weekly basis. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Every time I try and say weekly podcast, I have a break for like 2 months.
My vlogging channel was supposed to be every week, and it's like 7 months between episodes or something.
My third channel, I don't think I've updated in about like 7 months, and it was for my TikToks, and I was going to do TikToks every day because like the clown worlds that I used to do on my main channel, that's perfect content for TikTok. Perfect. And you can do it so easily with the little green screen option and stuff, but I don't want to have to wash my hair to do a TikTok. And my phone is biohazardous. This is like the eighth wonder of the world, my phone, that this still works. The camera is shocking. Literally, like this phone electrocutes me.
I've seen that phone.
It's such a disaster. The screen is fucked, but the screen has been fucked for at least like 4 or 5 months now. So I'm just used to not being able to see half my screen. I've adapted because human beings must evolve to survive. So I've adapted to having a shit phone. But it's not good for making TikToks on.
And now we've changed the theme of this podcast to humans being adaptable. Can we be like a Jordan Peterson?
Alpha males!
Yeah, can we be alpha males?
I am an alpha male. I don't know what anyone else is talking about. I have more balls than like most of the men I've ever met. Are you sure?
I don't feel very alpha. I don't feel bonita.
Compared to me, you're not, but that's okay. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Sure. If I just watch more podcasts, I'm sure I'll be alpha in like a year. It's fine.
Disclaimer, please don't actually watch alpha male podcasts because the term alpha male is completely redundant anyway, because I read recently that the bloke who coined the phrase in the first place wished that he had never come up, because I think he was studying wolves and then he came up with the alpha male thing, but it's been debunked. I don't know the science of this stuff. I just read an article. I'm sure if you went and asked, I don't know, Rachel Oates, she would know. But yes, the alpha male thing is a bit of a fallacy, but people ran with it and applied it to humans, and now we have this fucking shit show everywhere. And what's all this nonsense about high value females, high value males? None of you have any value because life is pointless. I am a zero value person, and I'm proud of it.
I think we need to bring back toxicity. This is what I've been saying. I had a conversation with somebody about this the other day. I think we need to bring back being toxic. Like, we had the really nice thing for a while, being really considerate of other people's feelings, and then that was went along with the people who are saying like high value this and high value that. No, I think we should be toxic and tell everybody that they're shit. And all these people going on about, I think we should go into them and tell them how little value they actually have. I think we should be toxic. It would be fun.
I never stopped being toxic, so I don't know what you're on about.
Okay, well, like, I try to be nice, but sometimes I just want to call people dumb. And I've started doing it in live streams. I watched, because we talked about the Shane Dawson video in the last episode of this. I watched it on a stream, and because when you said about like the private labeling thing, I thought that was just going to be a small segment. It was the whole fucking video. The whole video was dedicated to food is made by one manufacturer. And I kept going, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. And then to make it all worse, the whole video is about food, so I was starving the whole time. I was so fucking hungry because they were just eating and eating, and now I'm hungry again thinking about it, and it's all your fault, actually.
Wait, what's the new Shane Dawson video? What's he done? Is it conspiracies?
We spoke about this.
We
spoke about this in the last episode of this podcast. That's why I'm bringing it up. The conspiracy theory thing.
Sorry, I was too busy thinking about myself, clearly. No, this has gone over my head. So has Shane Dawson only just realised that, yes, most corporations are just owned by like 3 corporations? Has he just realised that?
Essentially, yes. Cute. He was going on about like how Trader Joe's stuff is like a relabeling of other brands, and like how Aldi buys stuff from the main manufacturers like Cheerios and shit is the same thing, just with a different packaging. Like he's claiming to have not known this, which I don't believe him. And you made the argument, unless I'm insane, one of us is really wrong here. You made the argument that like he used to be really poor, so he should have known this.
Dawning.
Am I right?
I'm having a dawning moment. Well, I think that might have been in regards to the Champion stuff, right? Because in Walmart, Champion is sold cheaply, but in other places, Champion is, seen as like high end or higher end, and it's sold a bit more expensive, the clothing brand.
But we were talking about the new video.
What new video? When did this come out?
Am I gaslighting you?
I think you are. What new video? When did the video come out?
Like 2 weeks ago.
No, we haven't spoken about this at all. I haven't even thought of Shane Dawson in the last 2 weeks. Who are you speaking to? I think you're the one who's having a spot at me.
Oh, I hate my brain. It was
I haven't watched any Shane Dawson in a long time because I'm not like the last time. No, the last time I even watched anything of his was when he did the new thing with Jeffree Star, and they had the ranch.
You didn't say you'd watched it, just that you'd heard about it, and it was about that stuff, and then you were. This happened.
I hear about
I'm
a
not
lot of things.
I've gaslit both of us somehow.
I think you've come up with some sort of harebrained theory and you're trying to pin it on me in case people don't like it.
Yeah, that's what's happening. You're right. I'm sorry. You've caught me. This is the conspiracy.
Can we move on to the topic that I wanted to bitch about 15 minutes ago?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Which you've heard of this because I had this conversation with you already. So don't come at me with I've never heard of this in my life.
Oh god. Now I don't know if you're gaslighting me.
The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay, yeah, I have heard of that. I heard of it before you as well.
As if I am like the omega, I'm the be all end all of everyone's discussions. No way. Things don't exist before me. Is that the cats? Where they
Did you hear that? I'm so sorry. Yeah, it is. They've got the zoomies. I apologize.
They're out there doing a full like Scar and Mufasa scene together on the sofa.
They do that, yeah.
I did that with my boyfriend's niece, who's like 7 or so. We were just like, because we were just playing games or whatever, and then she's seen the Lion King, so I was just like, oh, let's do the Lion King thing. Like, I'm gonna and it was all pretend, just like when Scar like throws Mufasa off of the thing, and it was all pretend, right? Like all pretend. And my boyfriend was being like, what are you doing? Like, stop pretending you're like she's being thrown off a cliff. I was like, well, she likes it. She's asked to do it like 10 more times.
She's having fun.
No one was being thrown. Do you know what I mean?
Off cliffs.
No, like
it
that
was
wasn't
only
happening.
A hill.
It was a sofa, and it was one of those things where like she was kneeling, so I was pretending that like all pretend, all fantasy. But I got like told, "What are you doing?" Like I'm the weird one.
I gotta tell you one thing. I will stop interrupting you about your topic, I swear. But you brought this up, actually, not me. I haven't seen The Lion King. I've seen the new one. And before that, like, I saw, like, a play version of it in Disneyland. But I haven't actually seen the original Lion King movie.
Oh, you're missing out.
But I've seen the new one, so I know what happens.
Yeah, sure. But I've not seen the new one, but I saw, like, some... Don't know, just went comparisons, that's the word, when people took two like stills together to compare, and I think it was someone was comparing when Simba sees the buffaloes or whatever about to come into the gorge to do the stampede, and he like looks terrified, and then they showed the CGI version with the lion is just kind of like, oh, do you know what I mean? Because like they couldn't do facial expressions on who was asking for a live action remake of The Lion King, because they're not real lions, they're CGI. So like I don't care. That's not.
You want them
impressive.
To use real lions?
Well, ethically no, but that would be more impressive if you taught a lion to act like they do with dogs. Like that would be more impressive to see real lions doing The Lion King. Though if it was like real lions doing The Lion King.
There is a movie where they tried to do this, by the way, from like the 60s. They tried to use real wild animals, like they had tons of them, and loads of people like died. They kept getting mauled. The filming process went on for years. Like they had family members all involved. It was a big family project, and just like loads of people got injured, and it just didn't work.
Serves them right, 'cause it's a stupid idea, but real lions would be more impressive than the CGI lions. But if the Lion King was real, Simba and Nala were definitely like brother and sister or something. If the Lion King was real.
Right, let's move on to The Handmaid's Tale then.
Okay, so I was in the mood for some dystopians recently, so I thought, I saw a clip of Rory Gilmore from Gilmore Girls acting in The Handmaid's Tale, and I thought, that's pretty good, so I'll put this on and stuff, and I'll read the book at the same time. And the first season of The Handmaid's Tale, I think it was really good. It was really, really good. But the first season covers the novel, which is by Margaret Atwood. And I was reading the novel, and I think I got like 100 or so pages in, and I was like, nah, this isn't for me because it's so slow-paced. It's not criticism. It's meant to be slow-paced on purpose. You know, every paragraph was basically this woman like remembering a new memory of her time before this weird religious cult took over. And I understand, I'm not stupid, I understand the purpose of that is to show, like, because she's essentially a slave. She's not even really allowed to have a personality. She just has to be like a incubator for some rich dude's kid. So she's not allowed to be anything other than, so I understand the purpose of it being so slow paced because she has nothing, and it's to show that she just literally has nothing other than her memories of her life before. And I understand that, and it's good writing. Like, of course it's good writing, it's Margaret Atwood, but I can recognize at the same time that it's not suitable for my ADHD brain because I was getting impatient. I know how it ends anyway because I already read up like the plot on Wikipedia, because I do that sometimes when I'm bored. When I think like there's not much of a likelihood of me watching something, I'll just read about it on Wikipedia and be like, oh, okay, that was that. But after season one ends where the novel ends. So the other seasons are original material, which I don't know if Margaret Atwood helps them out with. I'm not sure. But I got to about episode 3 in season 2. And can I give you spoilers? Are you going to watch it?
Probably, but you can give me spoilers. Warning for everybody else, though.
Yeah, spoiler alert. But also, it's a spoiler alert from season 2, so does it really fucking matter? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's 5 seasons. So, spoiler alert for season 2, episode 3. The first few episodes are about her trying to escape from, I think it's called Gilead, but I read it as Gilead. Trying to escape from Gilead and go to Canada, right? 3 episodes is spent on her escaping. And she's thwarted at the very end, like as she's about to get on this plane to secretly be carried into Canada, and she's pregnant, right? And I was just kind of like, is this what it's like? There's 5 seasons. I don't know how many episodes, but it's an American show, so it's not like it's 5 episodes per season. There's a lot of episodes, right? They're all an hour long. I was like, we've established already from talking about the cannibals and stuff, I don't mind watching bleak, depressing shit. I find that interesting. But this just seems like if she's going to be trapped, and I've looked up some spoilers, so I know that she's not exactly like trapped in Gilead for 5 seasons, but if it's going to be like that for like 2 whole seasons of just this unrelenting torture porn and misery, I don't have the patience to watch that, man. Like, I can't do it. You know? Mm-hmm. It was just a bit like, and then I noticed, so I skipped ahead all the way to like season 3 to watch an episode. And I just noticed like how incredibly, like, no wonder these episodes are an hour long each. It's so slow. Someone will say something and there'll be like a long shot of this lady thinking for about 5 fucking hours before she responds with like one sentence. There was this one scene I watched when I jumped ahead where, for whatever reason, the lady of the house just lights a fire to burn the house down, just because I don't know the context, but she just decided to do that. Fair enough, I suppose. And the handmaid, what's her name? Offred the handmaid, she noticed that there was smoke coming up and she's just staring at it for like a good minute, And then she's slowly kind of like playing with the smoke. And then she slowly walks down the stairs to slowly go to where the lady of the house is, to slowly take her out the house. Like, this room is on fire. They could die. And I was just sitting there like, are you, like, be fucking for real? If there's a fire, you're not going to be like... I'm getting so mad even thinking about it. But like, I've seen people say that it's a really good TV show, and just, I don't know. Is it because of my ADHD? I don't know. Like, what is it?
I love that you said that as you were spinning.
Because I'm getting frustrated, man. I'm getting like some rage energy that I need to get out right now. Because I'm just like I get. I don't know. Like, I know it's not for me and my impatience. But who is it for? I was looking on Reddit because other people were complaining about just how, because there's slow pace and then there's slow paced.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that for? Who is who has the time to sit there and watch? And if there's 10 episodes per season, there's 5 seasons, that's 50 hours of your time spent watching something, right? And I was just thinking about that, and I was just thinking, like, I can't do this. I'm going to rewatch Gilmore Girls for the 10th time.
What if I watch it and I really like it? What happens then?
You can like what you like. That's absolutely fine. I'm not a fascist about this type of thing. I used to be a little bit that sounds really bad. I used to be a fascist.
I used to be a bit of a fascist.
Like, a few years ago. No, I used to be a bit like, you're not allowed to, like, how can people like stuff that I don't like? I used to get a bit like that when it came to, but now I'm just like, whatever, man. I'm way more relaxed as I've gotten softer and mellowed out with age. This is me mellowed out, by the way.
Oh, God.
I know, I used to be a right tyrant. I was a nightmare. Like 10 years ago, I was a fucking nightmare. It's a bit embarrassing, really. You can like what you like. I know it's not for me. And the thing is there are lots of, like, really, the cinematography in The Handmaid's Tale, from what I saw of the first season and stuff, is really good. There's some really, like, good looking shots, if that makes sense. And I can appreciate that from a technical, from an artsy standpoint, but no, don't think it's for me. I just felt a bit disappointed, really, because I was like, I've spent a good, like, solid day, because I had the flu. So that's why I was watching it, because I had the flu. I had nothing else to do. And I spent a good solid day watching, like, season 1 or whatever. And then it just felt a bit disappointing that I didn't have it in me to finish the seasons, because I don't want to watch essentially, like, you know, psychological torture porn. You know, because it is like, it's a grim reality that I'm sure in 100 years' time, at least one state of America is gonna, like, try and do what's happened in The Handmaid's Tale. It's a cautionary tale. I get it.
Which state, though?
I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to start a one-person war against one single state.
Start it. Do it. I've been trying to get you to get in drama this whole episode.
Imagine if one of the, like, super liberal states just did a 180 and turned into this. Like imagine it was I don't know, California or New York.
Well, that's what I was thinking. Like, that it would have to be one of the, like, super democratic states that are just gonna, like, flip at some point randomly. But, like, where is Seattle? Which state is that?
I don't know. Washington?
Whatever one's... Is it Washington?
Seattle? Washington? I don't know. Is it?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's gonna be Washington. Yeah, why
Okay.
not? It's not like they know our geography. Come on, I don't need to know.
I know, it's not like... I've seen the TikToks of Americans not understanding that... No, Tana Mojo recently was like, is France a country?
Oh, God.
So, you know...
Was she serious, though, or was she just trolling?
I think she was serious.
God. Is France a country?
Yeah.
Does Bruno Mars is gay?
What?
It's a reference to Game Grumps. I don't think you watch them.
Oh my God, yeah, no, please, God, don't come out and, like, start outing people. Good Lord. Bruno Mars.
Look, I got the good gaydar. I know which ones of them are gay. Am I going to come out and say it? No. No, it was like, there was one of those, like, AI generated articles or like paid articles for like €2 or whatever from way before AI got good. Like a really shitty article, and it was titled no, actually it was his biography. It was Bruno Mars's biography on one of those fake biography sites. That's what it was. And one of the things was like, does Bruno Mars is gay? So, and they brought it up on Game Grumps, and just like it's a reference. I know that France is a country. I'm aware of this. I didn't know Georgia was a country for a while though. But in my defense, I learnt all the countries in Irish. And it took me years to learn them in English because I did all my primary schooling in Irish. So this is why.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about anyone else's geography lessons, considering, like, just a few months ago, I was being like, how is England in Europe? No, it's not. Because Europe is a landmass continent. And then I read some stuff and it was like, no, because England did used to be connected to the mainland of Europe. Like there was an actual, you could walk from England to France before. I read that and then I was like, oh, I guess so. I guess it is part of Europe, because Americans will call us European. And I was always like, huh? European? I'm just English, innit?
I remember you messaging me about this. You never messaged me your follow-up that you stopped being stupid.
I didn't understand because we're an island. Like I didn't get it because Europe's the continent, but actually it's also not. It's also just the area, like the overarching area, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I got an A in geography somehow. I don't understand how.
You just you knew that England is my city, and then coming out with the very old references.
In it, England is my city. Like, I don't know. Well, and then also, I mean, we had Brexit over here, so it's like, are we still European? Because there'd be a lot of there'd be a lot of English people that would be like, hey, bloody European. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's a bit confusing if you're stupid. If you're stupid like me, it's confusing. It is, yeah.
And in fairness, like, I get where you're coming from, but you were being really wrong and not listening to reason while you were texting me about this. And I'm so sure you were texting like 4 other people the same thing and not listening to any of them. But like, I know when I was in Macedonia, like we would refer to Europe as being like Western Europe. Like we'd know that we were in Europe, but we wouldn't talk about us as being the Europeans, even though we know that we are. Does that make sense?
I actually just remembered the full context as to why I was being so contrarian and really stubborn about it, because on some level I did realise early on into my arguing with 10 different people that I was in the wrong, but I was digging my heels in because my boneheaded best friend Callum sometimes like our dynamic is strange because there is just like that sibling ness in mine and his dynamic, right? And sometimes he will say things and I will just want to argue with him for the sake of it and be contrarian, to be a bit like, and I've gotten a lot better with just not being such a bitch. Like, obviously he doesn't take offense to it, he understands it's just our dynamic, and he doesn't take it personally. And I feel like sometimes if I do go a bit too argumentative, I always apologize afterwards and say I was just being stupid or whatever. And he's done it with me before, right? But in this case, I don't know what sprung the conversation, but I think I was like, are we in Europe? Like, are we technically European? Because the Americans always say it, right? And he said, yes, I consider myself a European. And I was like, you have never called yourself a European in your life. And I've known you for like 12 years, man. You have not once said that. And then it got into an argument about technicalities. And I was just trying to be like, you do not consider yourself a European because you don't. And also, like, you're also Iranian, right? Is Iran in Europe? Is Iran in Europe? Oh my God. No.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah, so like that was my point. I was like, well, you're Iranian. And he was like, yeah, I'm Iranian European. And he was winding me up. And I was like, no, you're not. And I was trying to invalidate his identity. Because he's never called himself European. Like, I've never called myself European because I've never thought about it, you know? So that's why I messaged you and I was digging my heels in because I didn't want to have to be like, maybe you were right this time, Callum. Just this time, though.
You wanted me to agree with you, essentially.
Just to win an argument that I was having personally, out of nothing as well. You know, because I was like, oh, if you sign letters, how are you going to sign them? UK, Europe. Do you know what I mean?
I used to think you had to do that, by the way, but I also thought that you had to write Earth when I was really young. So, like, I would actually write that on shit. Like, I don't know, Republic of Ireland, Europe, Earth. Like, every time.
Third planet from the sun, teehee.
Or is it? Who knows?
I've gotten really into space talk at the moment.
I've been getting it as well. It's
right?
Fun. It's a good time.
Do you ever see those? Do you see the ones where it's like the Earth and then the Sun and then Terran 25A and then this thing that's like this big compared to the Sun that's this big, and then this thing that's this big compared to the other thing that's like this big, and you see that, and like that would freak me out a decade ago, and now I'm just like, it doesn't fucking matter, does it? Doesn't matter.
I'm the same. I used to not be able to think about space because I would have it in my head that if I started thinking about it, it would stop working. Like, everything would just fall. Like, we're going to be sucked up into the vacuum of space, no more atmosphere. Like, if I started thinking about it. It's the same as, like, if I used to think about my internal organs, I'd be like, they're going to stop working. Because I've, like, acknowledged them somehow.
Yeah. You're, like, manifesting it.
Yeah. Like, space doesn't feel real. Also, what is infinity? I don't get it. I don't like it.
Well, that's what helps me not... Well, I think it was even from a Russell Brand book, because I used to get freaked out about space. And then he said in one of his books that if the universe is infinite, size is relative, thus it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if something's really the size of a baseball or the size of like 1 billion suns in terms of infinity, right? So... I don't know what his fucking point was. I don't know why Russell Brand was talking about that in a book. But I remember reading that and being like, oh yeah, I guess it doesn't... Like, in my head, that makes it not really matter. Because everything's relative if something is infinite. So who cares?
It's not that I'm concerned about infinity. It's that I can't comprehend it, and that pisses me off. Like, I want to understand what that means. Because how is something infinite? Doesn't make sense. I do have a friend who does physics, and he was explaining thermodynamics to me, but he started off his explanation with like the main guy who did thermodynamics killed himself, and loads of the people who do thermodynamics kill themselves because it's just really depressing, and then proceeded to tell me about it. I was like, great, thank you. This is great information. So like, once I can comprehend something, I'm okay with it. But it's the fact that it doesn't make sense to my stupid brain. I
watched a video of this astrophysicist, and I'm probably going to butcher this. They were talking about black holes and the really, really big ones. Are they called supermassive black holes, or is that just a Muse album?
I think that's what they're called.
Okay, good. Just so I don't appear ignorant and uneducated about black holes. There are some, a black hole's size is relative to its age. The younger ones are smaller, the older ones are larger, they grow as they age, right? And apparently there are some trigger warning, because this actually might make people existential and upset them. Apparently there are some black holes that are so big, they're bigger than the universe is old. It doesn't make sense that some black holes are that big because the universe hasn't been old enough for them to be that big in the first place. And I remember I just listened to a video of someone talking about that, and I was like, oh... And I've got to pay taxes. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I fucking mean? Like there's some absolute nonsense going on up there, and yeah, I've got to pay a gas bill. It's bullshit. Reality is an illusion, and I hate it.
But clearly they're wrong about something then. They're either wrong about the age of the universe or black holes. If it doesn't align.
It's a bit of a paradox, and I think... I don't know, like maybe they've solved it by now. I don't regularly ingest this type of news, but I think it's like a bit of a known paradox, and they're trying to work it out mathematically. But like, there's some weird shit, man, like with the whole... I'm going to butcher this again. The whole, like, if you... The double slit experiment where observing the particles change the particles, because the particles, when they're aware they're being observed, they like act differently, and it's like, what's that about, man? What's that? That's weird.
That one fucking freaks me out, and I thought about it as soon as we started talking about space. I thought about that because it's like, what the fuck is that? Life is not real, but at the same time, it's okay. It's fine. If it's not real, like, it doesn't literally changes nothing about my life. Like, we're done. It's okay.
Yeah.
And Matt Groening,
well done.
he's in charge of the Matrix, and there we go.
Well, him
and David X. Cohen, or Tim X. Cohen, David or Tim, one of them, one of those bastards. They're in charge of the Matrix. I've decided. I will not elaborate further.
Oh, speaking of the Matrix, that segues nicely into my final topic that I wanted to talk about.
You're welcome. I did that on purpose. I don't even know what the topic is.
No, that's like the Matrix in action right then, that you just knew to do that. I went to see John Wick 4 recently.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to see that because Rina Sawayama was in it, and I really like her.
I don't know which one she was.
I don't know the name of the character. She's a singer. I'll show you a picture of her later.
Okay, good. I went to see John Wick 4, and it was such an experience, and I just wanted to talk about the experience of just watching John Wick 4, because it was like something out of like a really shit comedy sketch, right? We went to see it on was it the opening night? I don't know, but we went to see it basically immediately as soon as it came out, and I decided to get some tickets in like apparently one of the nicest cinemas in Leicester Square, Odeon, right? And the tickets, it said like, you know, the seats were more at the back, and I was like, well, that's fine, because screens are huge, you know. My local cinema, my local Odeon, the screen is massive, so it like fucking huge, right? So we get there, and we had to keep walking to the back to go to our seats, and we're like, this is kind of high up. And when the adverts start, this screen is so far away. I felt like I needed those little sort of handheld binoculars, like people at the theatre use. It was like, no joke, we were all just there, and I'm just like, wait, I've paid so much money for these tickets, and the screen is that far away. And we were all just like baffled. We were just kind of like, no, is this a joke? Are the curtains gonna widen? If you got your phone out and put your phone, it was like my phone from that distance, you know what I mean? Like, that's how small the screen was and how far back these seats were.
Why was it such a small screen?
I don't know, but the cinema was really nice. It was nice, and I was like, okay, so after the adverts, you know, the curtains open wider and the screen sort of increases in size. Always happens at cinema. So I was with Callum and Kieran and my boyfriend, and I was just like, okay, so maybe it will just, I don't know, maybe it will get bigger. And it opened up by like an inch on either side, and we were like laughing so much because we were like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, it's so far away. I feel like I've not even really seen John Wick, so it was so far away. That was the worst part though. The cinema fills up, right? And it was just like chaos. I have not been in I don't understand what was in the water that day in London, because it was sheer chaos. There was this guy, this Korean dude was sitting next to my boyfriend. He was, whilst the film was going on, he was sending like voice notes to his mum. And one time he's on like FaceTime with his mum
during the film. Oh god. Oh no.
At one point, someone just like turns like the torch on their phone. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand me right now? They just
no, you're not saying words. You just said he was on FaceTime, and then they turned the torch on. That's all you said.
You've got this guy on like a long distance call back to Korea to talk to his mum about the film that they're watching. You've got this other guy who just like turns on the torch and it's like,
what the fuck? Are you sure you actually went to the cinema? This wasn't a dream.
It was just like one of the, like, but it was weird. It's not just me saying this. I kept turning to Callum and Kieran and being like, what the fuck is going on? Because everyone was just on something and everyone was just being really chaotic in this cinema whilst we're trying to watch John Wick 4. Everyone was being super chaotic, and there's a bit near the end where like this, no, it's not a spoiler, like a showdown happens. It's a film that's like the, you know, it's, right, a showdown happens. They're action films. And when the showdown culminated, everyone clapped. And I was just like, am I in America? What's going on? Why are we clapping? We're clapping at a film. Why are we clapping? So I joined in because I was like, well, hey, when in America, apparently. Like, you know, like clapping along. But it was just like going to see it, having that pitiful fucking... And I've only just like remembered to talk about this because I went to see Super Mario Brothers movie, the Super Mario movie, like 2 nights ago. And the screen at our local cinema, I was like, this is so fucking good. Can we please go watch John Wick 4 again? Like, can we actually go watch it a second time? Because I would have had the same effect from just watching the film. Like, I would have been able to see more, actually. Put the phone to my fucking face. It was just a really weird experience. Everyone was like on drugs.
I can't even imagine the screen thing though. Like the whole perspective issue is fucking with my brain. I can't. It's not working in my head. This whole story is really weird and it doesn't sound real. Like I believe you, it just doesn't sound real.
It was just so funny because like I don't know, people were just acting so weird, and every time someone acted weird, me and Callum were just like, what the fuck is actually going on? No, this is really bizarre. Everyone is just being feral in this cinema. But it added to kind of the enjoyment of watching the film at the same time, because it was just like, it was memorable, you know? Like, and I feel like the John Wick films have been like that, because I went to see John Wick 3 in the cinema, again, with Callum, actually, like several years ago, which that depresses me, but we'll get onto that in a minute. And there was a bit in John Wick 3, it's near the beginning when he's running away from all the people getting the notifications on their phones. And what does he do? I think he gets like the sword and he like stabs it in someone's eye, and you can see it kind of, you see it happen. And because I'm British and I'm repressed, when we go to the cinema, you don't talk to people. You don't acknowledge that other people are in the cinema. Do you know what I mean? Right? Even if some teens are being naughty, you don't say anything. You just tut because you're British and that's what we do. But that's one of the only films where I turned to the person in my seat, and like next to me, not Callum, the other, like the stranger, and I was just like, fucking hell. And he was like, yeah, I agree. And it was just like the vibe. Do you know what I mean? It had that kind of vibe, John Wick did. And it's one of the only films I've ever... Apparently, Kieran told me that not Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers film with like the Thanos and the Endgame and stuff, apparently like that was a bit like that, because it's like there's a whole community here of people, so you know, it was like an experience. I
did see that in cinema, but I hadn't seen any of the other films, so I guess I wasn't part of the community, so I don't remember like if people were talking to each other or not. But I guess I did go, so there was that. Like there must have been that kind of a thing.
It feels like with the John Wicks, there's been like, I don't know, just a good vibe of seeing it, and but it depressed me for like a week afterwards. After I watched John Wick 4, I was depressed.
Why? Is it to do with like the plot? Because if it is, don't tell me, because I haven't seen any of them.
No, you've not seen any of them?
No, I only heard about John Wick now because Rina Sawayama is in it.
Oh my god, you're in for a treat. No, you have to watch like from the beginning until the 4th. You have to. Like the beginning, oh my god, has one of my favourite scenes cinematographically ever in a film, right? Where so in the, do you know what happens in the first one? Just like as in the basic I
don't know anything about these films besides Rina Sawayama is in the latest one. That's all I know.
Okay, well, they're action films, and I think they are, as a series, the most perfect action films ever. I was just ranting about this to Rachel Waite yesterday, right? Because I don't know what we were talking about, but I started going on about how, like, The Matrix is the perfect film for me. But The Matrix Reloaded and Revolutions, I used to love them as a kid, but now I've grown up, I don't really like them so much. So The Matrix is just, like, canonically in my head, The Matrix stands alone as its own
I also
film.
didn't finish The Matrix.
Did you watch the first one?
I didn't finish the first one.
Oh my god, it was groundbreaking. It was absolutely groundbreaking.
Yeah, but I watched it like 2 years ago. It's not groundbreaking anymore.
They'd never done stuff like that before, ever, in films. And also the plot, the philosophical aspects. I watched that when I was like really, really young, like too young to be watching it. Like I was like 7 or so years old, and it ruined my fucking life. It ruined my life because these philosophical elements to it, I understood what the Matrix was about. I didn't understand, like, you know, like the nitty gritty or holy trinities and Morpheus and I didn't understand like the really deep elements. But there were some people that didn't understand the Matrix at all. Like not to roast my mum, she's a smart lady, but she couldn't get around the concept of like, okay, so they're actually in a fake reality controlled by machines. She couldn't get around that. Couldn't get her head wrapped around it. But I got that. Like I understood it, right? But it ruined my life because I'd never come across these concepts before of like, what if our reality is engineered? What if, you know, it's all not a hypothesis, I
know what you're trying to say.
I know. And it's called something in philosophy, the H something.
Fuck.
Well, forget that.
I can't. I need to know what the word is because it's there in my brain. I can grab it, but I can't.
Oh, I know. I think it's just the simulation hypothesis. I think that's what it's called.
I was thinking something else actually.
Well, yeah, I'd never really come across these ideas before. It's in a film that's full of action, and Keanu Reeves is in it, who's like been my number one dude since I was born, basically.
In The Matrix or in John Wick?
Matrix.
Okay. I thought we were talking about John Wick and I was confused.
No, we're talking about The Matrix and just how culturally significant The Matrix was to my entire life. If I'd never seen it, I would not be the person I am today. It's as simple as that. The Wachowski sisters ruined my life in a way because it would have been nicer to not think about, is reality fake?
Who are they?
The directors.
Okay. Why do I not know anything? Truly. Like, it's not even a joke. I feel like people are going to think it's a joke. I truly seem to not know anything. What the fuck?
So, anyway, The Matrix, it's just, I think it's a 10 out of 10. I think it's a perfect film. The John Wick series, as action films, I think they're 10 out of 10s. I think they are all the perfect action films. And in the first one, there is this scene. So it's action, it's revenge. The door is knocking. 1 second, sorry. So my boyfriend forgot his key and was apparently knocking on the door for 10 minutes. And I saw that he tried to call me, but I thought he just wanted a chat. Like, so I hung up.
Oh, no.
Well, look, I've been talking about John Wick and The Matrix, so don't worry. He understands how important these subjects are to me. It's fine. You can't get in the way of an artist and her craft, right? My craft is chatting shit. So, in the first John Wick, yeah, right, there's this bit. It's so iconic. He's in this pool house. People need to know this about me. I've said it a few times before, but I fucking love music with violence. Good violence. Not gory, you know, like when I watched The Green Inferno and they're literally like the cannibals are hacking this. I told you about this in the last podcast. They were like,
I don't want to think about it again.
Not like that, but like, you know, good action, right? Good action sequences. Because The Matrix, like, they had to learn so much martial. They had to do like months and months of training of learning different martial arts forms and stuff. Specific forms that are kind of more like dancing, like fight dancing or like drunken dancing, fighting. I don't know. I don't remember the specifics. So I love good music to good action, and I love classical music to like action. So if there's like a bunch of crazy shit happening and there's classical music, perfect. But there's this scene in the first one where he's in this club that also has this sort of pool section, and he's trying to find this guy, and he's taking out the security guards, and it's all like it's like called the pool house scene, and it's all like pink and kind of lilac and blue, like the color and stuff, and he stabs this guy through the chin. And he puts his hand over his mouth, and he's watching for the pupils to dilate. So, like, you know, he's watching this man die in front of him, for like a pragmatic purpose, you know. So he knows that the person is dead, so he can move on. But also, there's something very like you're watching someone's life like leave their eyes. There's something very, I don't know, like brutal and philosophical about that, right? And it's like to this music. called Think by Khalida, and it's that is a perfect movie scene to me. It's just the way that like the music comes in with this lady like singing, and then like there's blood and this guy like being, it's so cinematic. You're in for a treat. You've got to watch them. In fact, I wish that I'd never seen them so I could watch them again. They're that fucking good. And then the second one is good, but the third one is so good. Like, the third one is so good. And then the fourth, like, they are, like, these films, they know what they're about. They know that they're action films. They understand the assignment. And, oh my God, they've gotten better each time. But I got depressed about it because the last one came out a few years ago. I remember going to the cinema to watch it. And I remember, like, the passage of time has happened to me. It's been a few years, right? And I got depressed because I was like, I've literally wasted my entire life. It should be me being in an action film. I'm not even physically fit enough to, like, I don't know, run 10 miles. I ain't going to be in an action film. But what if I had pursued acting and become just like an action? Like, what if I'd been in films like The Matrix, even though I was too young at the time? But what? I've wasted my entire life. I've wasted my life. I'm old now. I've actually started. I've got back into boxing since watching. because I'm like, I need to be physically fitter because this is a joke. But I got depressed for like a good week of I've wasted my entire life. Keanu Reeves is out there being incredible. What have I done?
You've done YouTube.
Well, I was gonna say, like, I need to be fairer to myself because when I went to see John Wick 3, I was working a full-time job that I didn't like, and I was working for someone else. In the time that has elapsed, I now do work for myself, and it's completely sustainable with YouTube. So I need to be fairer to myself, but in my head I'm like, that's nothing. You should have gone to acting school when you got that YouTube drama money 3 years ago. You should have gone to Guildhall for a term. So yeah, it depressed me.
I mean, you always could still get into acting if you wanted to. Why not?
Oh, but I'm so old, and it's only a specific type. I don't want to be doing like romance or that soft stuff. I just want to be fighting on screen and being thrown from buildings and shit. But I'm meant to go to the gym now that my boyfriend's home. I'm putting that off, do you know what I mean? So I'm really not going to be flung from a building, am I?
I always wanted to be in a horror, like a proper, like, slasher. That's what I want to do. I want to be the one getting murdered. I think it would be fun. Like, in a movie,
Sure.
But, like, then I have this thing that, like, horror movie sets are cursed, so if I was in a horror, then I would get the curse, and then something bad's gonna happen to me. So I also don't want to, but I just feel like it would be fun to watch yourself in a horror and be like, I did that acting, that fear, I made that up with my face. Look how great I am.
So you'd want to be the victim?
Yeah.
But
I don't think I'd make a good...
No, I would want to be the hero that kills literally like 500 people with a pencil.
I don't think I'd be a good villain. Or a good hero. Particularly not a good hero.
I wouldn't want to be like a hero because someone who's good for the sake of being good, it just isn't good at all. Naive, if anything, you know. I would want to be like an anti-hero, but also there's something about them so they're not like a bad person. You know, because John Wick has killed a lot of people, but he's killed bad people. He's killed assassins and stuff. So it's just, I don't know. You got to have that moral ambiguity to be interesting, I think.
Well, because if you just have like good for the sake of being good, it's a boring character. Like, this is why I used to think I didn't like action movies. It turns out I just don't like Marvel. They're not good to me. And there are a lot of those characters. I know they have like some more interesting ones now, like that Wanda. I don't know. Yeah. The other Olsen sister, her. Like, she's supposed to be like a really interesting, like, kind of fucked up character. So I'd be interested in watching that stuff. But the rest of it is just very, like, there is no point to it. It's very formulaic. So this sounds like my kind of thing, to be honest, the John Wick. So I will watch it. I'll give you my review, unless I hate it, and then I won't tell you.
Oh yeah, if you don't like it, then just like literally don't ever talk to me again about it, because I love these films. I mean, I watched John Wick and I'm like, why am I not an assassin? Like, why was that not my career path, you know? I watched like the Rambo and Rocky films when I was 15, and I thought, why don't I be like Rambo and be like a guerrilla warfare type of person in another country, living in a tree, shooting people?
I don't know what this is, so you're just like talking absolute nonsense.
Okay. Now I'm older, I realise that Rambo was just an incredibly like PTSD stricken bloke who just wanted some peace. when I was younger, I was like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. That's called growth and maturity.
Good
That's
job.
called growth.
I'm very proud of you. You should be proud of yourself, I think.
And I think that is where we should end this podcast. Imagine, I was just saying about the Australian lady who killed her cats, and because I saw a Metro article about her, and I was like, what an idiot. She's saying so much on a podcast. Imagine I get a Metro article tomorrow that's like, a podcaster and a YouTuber, Alizee, says that she wants to be an assassin and kill people with a pencil. Imagine.
It would be fun, though. It would be really good publicity for you. Then maybe you can get in that movie.
But that's also, I know we're off the subject already, but I love talking and I do it for a living. So get off my back, audience. You're going to have to listen to me for 3 more minutes. Are you not entertained? That's also what kind of depressed me a bit, because I always just thought, oh no, I need to work really hard and then be someone noteworthy, and then I'll get invited to the John Wick 4 premiere. Did it happen? Did it fuck?
You need to invite yourself to those things, I think. I don't think they just...
The tickets are really expensive, and it's kind of one of those things where it's can I justify to my accountant that that's a business expense? I don't think so.
If you vlog it, then it's a business expense, right?
Yeah, but then you're that bellend at a premiere vlogging, being oh look, Keanu Reeves is in the background, and then he'd never talk to me.
I'm
we
sure
need
he'd
to be
talk to you.
He doesn't understand. He doesn't. I'm gonna get emotional and me crying, me complaining about Diary of a CEO. Everyone just cries, but Keanu Reeves is he's the second dad that I never had, and he doesn't realize that about our dynamic. But he's always been there. I thought my first dad is pretty great, but everyone knows their place in my family. It should be Keanu Reeves walking me down that aisle if I got married. Do you know what I mean? He's the second dad that I never had, so I really just need him to like me. Everyone else, I don't give a fuck, but... Oh, Keanu Reeves and Giorgio from Ancient Aliens.
Yeah.
Succulus. Yeah. I need these people to like me. Everyone else can just go to hell, but please comment, subscribe.
Well, if it helps, Nick Pope thinks you're controversial. So that's good, right?
Which that's that sure is something coming from someone who goes on Ancient Aliens, which I'm not. I would love to be a host on Ancient Aliens, but Ancient Aliens is always getting into trouble. It's always been called controversial because you've seen people complain about it on Twitter and calling it XYZ, and let's be real, it's just a fun, entertaining show about what if the aliens actually made this large rock. Do you know what I mean? That's the show in a fucking nutshell. But it's always been called controversial. So what have I done? What did he call me? He called me popular and controversial. What have I done?
I am curious about it.
Nothing in recent years, unless he looked at my main channel and considers me swearing at Stephanie Meyer and Colleen Hoover to be controversial. Maybe he does. Because
maybe he really likes Colleen Hoover.
Maybe he's a Colleen Hoover stan.
Oh my god!
But he was really sweet though. He was really nice to me. So I don't think he's being backhanded. I think maybe it was just an adjective for him. But I wouldn't consider myself controversial.
I don't think that's an insult. It just is an observation, and I'm just wondering how he made that observation. But he did seem very happy to be there, which was nice.
My camera just died 2 seconds ago, so audio people are just going to have the audio bit of me saying this, and it's going to be just black on the screen right now.
Can all just look at me.
Just keep the camera on you for whilst I say this. Well, I guess we need to go because my battery has died, and that is all for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, do remember to comment, subscribe. Make sure to follow us on Spotify and iTunes. Let us know if you like these more informal chit chat ones, because I love talking. Don't know about you.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it though. I don't know why this is my job.
You're all right. You're all right. That sounded really condescending. Oh my god, we've been talking for an hour and a half. That is ridiculous. That sounded like a documentary about what? About
Nick Pope being a Colleen Hoover stan. It's very important.
Yeah, everyone promote that conspiracy theory for us.
Yeah,
okay,
please. I'm doing extra to the camera because you're not here. It's just me. Hi.
That's so funny. It's literally like, I've had enough of this, so I've just dipped from the conversation. I'm like, I'm fucking done.
It's okay.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.